What's up, everybody? Big Herc 916, getting down with Fresh Out. You know how we do it over here. We keep it raw, real, and uncut. And we have a special guest today, Dwen, and a hell of a story. So we're gonna get some conversation here and lace you guys up on some real game. So Dwen, I like to get like a little background for our audience to kind of learn a little bit about the person we're interviewing. So can you tell us a little bit about where you're from, how you grew up?
Okay. Actually, for those that are not familiarized, I was on season 2, episode 3, American Gangster Trap Queens. So I'm not only me on there, only transgender, all of that. I grew up in Detroit. Ended up having like a really bad drug problem. Ended up going to Oakland, where my uncle is the one who actually took me in and helped me to evolve into basically the person that you see in front of you now. And moved from Oakland and then went to LA. So, I have like tri-cities. I'm kind of like bi-coastal, tri-coastal, something like that.
So what was the time period when you were in Oakland? Like
Oakland,
was it in the 80s or 70s? Or?
I went to Oakland from Detroit right before they had the earthquake. And I believe that was in 88. And so, I went right after they had that really, really bad earthquake in the Bay Area. And then I ended up going right after that, and I got there right before the holidays, I remember, because I ended up going to treatment, and I ended up being in a treatment facility for like about a year and a half.
How old were you around that time? Were you in high school, junior high school, or?
No, I was 20.
Okay.
And so all of my 20s, I just like remained just completely sober. So I had no 20s of running around, kicking it and all of that, because I had done all of that before I had gotten to Oakland. In Detroit, as a young teenager, I did a lot of stuff. Well, not a lot of stuff. Smoked weed, drink, and 51s, they call that, where you break down the 50 rock and you roll it up and with some weed, and then you end up getting high. But I never knew that I was gonna become a crackhead like that, because I said, well, as long as I ain't smoking it off the pipe, then I'm good. Because I'm running around with all my friends and they having money and everything is good, but it whirlwinds. We know what that does.
Yeah, because I know in the 80s, when I was like in that whole crack situation, they called them Grimmys.
Oh, right, Grimmys.
Yeah.
Grimmys,
so the ballers,
51s in Detroit.
Yeah, in California.
Right.
So the ballers be smoking weed, and they're like, "Well, that's a Grimmy." You're like, "What is a Grimmy?" And he's like, "You done got that up in there," and it's like, so it ain't just weed, you know? Yeah.
It's a mixture.
Yeah.
And then when you mix it with the cigarette, they call them cavies.
Yes, cavies. Yeah, that's right.
And I'm like, why would they call it cavies? It's not like it's caviar, but maybe it was. I don't know.
So you were already hustling in the streets at that time?
Not. At which particular point?
When you were in Oakland, or it wasn't until you got to LA where you really started getting your money and putting your foot in the street game?
It's so funny. My mother and I, we were talking about this, and when I lived in Detroit and I used to work at different retail shops and stuff like that, my ass was getting shit out of there then. I worked at Donna Sachs, I worked at Benetton, I worked at like a plethora of different boutiques that were pretty much high end. And by me opening and closing a store, and I was young then, at this particular time, probably around 17 or 18, and just whooping the stuff right out the store. But once I got to Oakland, then things pretty much escalated for me.
Okay.
But it was differently. It just kind of like systematically happened. It wasn't anything that I was investigating and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. It's just kind of like it, just fell in my lap.
Because I know, like during like the '80s, a lot of people, the Bay Area was it was out of control. It was off the hook. I mean, there was a lot of D boys, a lot of big time kingpins, a lot of dudes, during the '80s got caught up in that drug game. So I know between Oakland, Vallejo, Richmond, Palo Alto, it was just a lot of drugs being moved into Oakland. People think of LA, but Oakland was really big too. So you were in Oakland for a little while, hanging out with your uncle. And then you said you transitioned from there to
Well, I
Los
was in
Angeles.
Oakland, and when I moved to Oakland, I moved with him, and then I ended up going to a therapeutic community. You know, start going to different NA meetings, things of that nature, AA meetings, just really get more familiarized with who I am and within myself and being secure. And, branched out, met different friends. I mean, come on now, in Detroit, when you wake up in the morning, you don't see no palm trees. But when you here in LA, you could wake up. I mean, when I look out my window, I see palm trees. And so I love that. I don't see a lot of degradation and third war shit going on to where it's just, it's messed up. So it's.
So in Oakland, you were pretty much getting your life back together, cleaned up, going through therapy, and then from there, you went to LA, and then that's when you really started getting in, as far as with your hustle, or when did that kind of like, you started really hitting the streets as far as getting your money?
Well, in Oakland, I pretty much, I used to work at an establishment, and there was a situation where I was supposed to go out of town, and the guy was getting my ticket, and he wasn't able to get the ticket, and the ticket blew up. So when I called him, I'm like, hey, I need to, what happened? What's up with the ticket? He said, I don't have no more credit card numbers. And I said, well, what you mean you don't have no more credit card numbers? He said, I can't send you because I don't have no more numbers. I don't know where to get any from. So I'm thinking, because where I worked at that particular time, I'm like, well, I can get them, and everything was like 5-star, A-star, like everything with the numbers. So I got them the numbers. I didn't go out of town, and it was crazy the amount of money that I made that weekend just by staying. So I ended up doing that. Once I ended up doing that, I was bringing in so much money. I was just putting it in my account. I didn't know any better. So the IRS snatched money
So
out.
hold on, let's go back a little bit. Break down how were you able to make money for the people out there who just like don't understand. How were you able to make money just off the numbers? How did that work?
Because I was doing airline tickets. Because I helped him fly everybody back and forth.
Okay.
So I didn't, it's it's tons of people that I have flown. I have just been, I ended up becoming like Oakland's travel agent. And so when I ended up getting the money that I was having and the IRS snatched the money out, then I said, oh no, I got to do something different.
Now, how did IRS get hip to the money?
Because, I mean, shit, if I'm just a waiter, then what are you doing with all of this in your account? So they snatched like, I don't know, 25,000, something like that. I can't even remember. So the rest of the money, I took it and I invested into a hair salon.
Okay.
So I was a successful hair salon owner on Lakeshore, which is a very prominent and very exclusive part in Oakland. And my partner and I, we ran it for like 7.5 years. Yeah.
Now, Lakeshore, is that by the lake in Oakland? Around?
It is.
Yeah,
it's right by the Necklace of Lights. A lot of people don't know that's what Lake Merritt is called. It's called because all the lights are connected.
Okay.
So they call it a Necklace of Lights.
Yeah, I remember as a kid. I mean, I used to go over there when I was in the BMX, and there was a bike shop over there called Hank. I wanted to say Hank and Frank's on that little circle.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
You know, you go there and we go there and buy bike parts and stuff. You know, but that's a really because
They
people
had everything over there.
everything,
Yeah.
all kind of shops. I mean, people don't know like Oakland right now. I mean, the way they ran it into the dirt, but there's like you go Oakland Hills or by the lake, the festival by the lake. It was a lot of money over there. You know, very, very affluent, you know, black community over there. A lot of people with, you know, with paper. So it was a lot different in that area. So I know, you know, when people talk about like high-end boutiques and shops and stuff like that, there's a lot of that over there that people aren't familiar with.
Right. I mean, it's a very prominent area. I can remember living over there, and everything in Oakland now is so expensive. You know, I can remember living right up the street from my girlfriend where she worked. You know, she worked with me as well, but her boyfriend, he was affiliated with, you know, Digital Underground. So Tupac, Money B. Money B is my boy. Shout out to Money B. Love Money B to death. But, you know, right up the street from them. You know, so we was just living. You know, living good. They wasn't bipping.
Yeah.
Wasn't nobody bipping like they bipping now. They bip. Love Oakland to death, but y'all got me scared to death to come back because I don't want my car messed up.
Well, even back then, I mean, I remember my mom took us over to the Eastmont Mall.
Oh.
And remember Eastmont Mall? I mean, back then it was like it was off the hook. I mean, but you know, you go in there, you see dudes with like the big donkey ropes, and you know, you got Capizios, and you got the stores with the silk outfits and stuff like that, and then also Hilltop was cracking. Cause my mom was a hairdresser and she worked at Hilltop Mall.
Oh, okay,
and Hilltop was, you know, they had they had a lot of shops over there and they had a lot of baller stores and you know, and that was like as a kid I used to like wow, you know, how they affording all this stuff, man. You know, I didn't know like, you know, the drugs was that popping like that. But yeah, the Bay Area was definitely, it's a fast. You know, people say, "Oh, LA." Well, the Bay Area is fast too.
Nah, the boys don't play there.
Bay's
like, I mean, they gonna get it how they need to get it, and they gonna get it, and they real hustlers. You know, I fuck with my Oakland people all day long.
Yeah,
like they know I got love for them.
Yeah,
you know, they will get it.
Yeah. Oakland. You know, I knew some dudes from EPA back then. EPA was off the hook.
East Palo Alto.
Them dudes was getting paper. Dudes from Richmond, you know, Vallejo, and then you got all
Richmond,
the little.
they funny. Richmond is.
They had their own little thing. Richmond.
I love Richmond. Richmond is now y'all gotta come on now. Richmond is country a little bit. They cool people. They country. I'll fuck with Richmond, but you know Richmond, you know they could they'll get you.
Yeah. Yeah, because Hilltop, it was in a nice area. You know, before the mall went down, I went by, it's not even there no more, but yeah, that Hilltop area used to be popping. So you went from Oakland, so what made you transition from the hair salon to go to Los Angeles?
It was a multitude of things. You know, I ended up, when I was there, I was so flashy, you know, and when I reflect and I think back now, you know, I was so young and I was having so much money and I had, you know, remember I said that before when I came from Detroit, I came to Oakland. And when I came to Oakland, I went into a therapeutic community. So I got clean, got my life and stuff like that situated, and I wasn't getting high. But once I started getting money, I still didn't want to get high. So what I did was substitute one drug for another. So I just started buying tons of jewelry. You know what I'm saying? Every time if I felt like I wanted to hit, then I went and bought like a diamond tennis bracelet. Or I went and bought like whatever in the fuck. You know, my mother, sister, brother, all of them. So, you know, that's what it was.
Yeah, you were kind of replaced. And, you know, and I see some people when they, I'm not drinking no more, but now they're workout fanatics. They, you know, they worked out to where they weighed nothing. They're like, I'm like, damn, dude, you work out 4 or 5 hours a day. So you got to kind of, like you said, substitute something for something else. And
I turned around and I targeted myself by being so flamboyant. You know, being so flamboyant with the jewelry and the cars and the houses and the salon and just being popular in Oakland. So when you look at me in Oakland and I'm getting all this money, these guys, they thinking I'm running around with 50 keys in my trunk. But it was nowhere near of what they were thinking, because at that particular time I was so far ahead of the game that nobody, OPD didn't even understand what was going on. When you look at American Gangster Trap Queens, you'll see how discombobulated I think he's like, is he chief, captain, sergeant, or something, you know, and they just didn't know how to get me. So they would, you know, I targeted myself and I ended up, you know, they tried to kidnap me.
Damn.
When they tried to kidnap me.
Who, some dudes from the street?
Yes, like it was crazy. They was hiding across the street in the creek from where I lived, and I was, you know, I'm going to go see LL Cool J. I'm with my girls and everything. You know, I'm telling them, because they had a hair salon around the block from me. So I said, okay, well, let me go and get my jacket. I'm going to go and get my jacket. I'm going to go cut some lights on in the house. And I had just got through making a whole run from picking up money. So I went and dropped off all that money in the house. Like I said, I wasn't drinking then, but my girls was with me. So I'm like, let me pull like $500, $1,000 out with me in case they want to do whatever. Came out the house, them niggas was across the street in the creek. And one thing I don't do is I don't pull in anymore. Because when I pulled in, that was my worst mistake. I should have backed in. Because I would have been able to see everything in front of me. And I had a remote start. So when I clicked the remote start, it didn't start. So I had to come down the stairs, walk around the car, come to the door, and they across the street in the creek. So I hear, shoo, 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 shoo. They running through the leaves. They coming to get me. So I don't back in no more. So that they were trying to kidnap me. They wanted money. I gave them what I had, stuff like that and everything. They took some other stuff, some jewelry, the ring that I had on at the time. I dropped it on the floor in the seat along with the keys to the car because everything was black interior. At the time I had like a 300 CE. It was kitted out, cocaine white, black convertible top, black interior. So when they got me, when he bashed the window in and they pulled me out and, you know, they were looking for the money and I was just like, that's all I got. And they said, well, we just gonna have to kidnap her. So I just grabbed the barrel of the gun because I'm like, if I'm gonna get shot, it's not gonna be in my face. And so I'm holding on to the gun and we going round and round, and this dude that was jacking me as well was trying to get an aim in, but I kept fucking with him because I'm like, you gonna shoot him. You shooting this bitch because I'm out of here. And I took the gun, flung it, and flew up the street. I ran into the night. I'll never forget, I had on the Versace tennis shoes. Thank you, Gianni. And I ran faster than Carl Lewis.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I got the fuck on. When you running for your life,
the
fuck is you gonna do?
Yeah. No, I totally, shit.
Take me. No, and y'all got a van right there?
Oh, shit. Yeah, that would have, yeah.
It's no
it
way.
ain't going out like that.
Oakland is not playing with you. Look, they probably still wouldn't have been able to find my body if they would have got me. Not playing that game.
Yeah, and I remember them Benz 300. See, them things is classic now. That was like back in the, if you roll on that car, people thought you was in a D game for real.
Well, it had a whole German kit and everything. And then at that particular time, it had like 21s in the front or 20s in the front, 22s in the back, something like that. But it had a whole German kit and the whole thing was customized. My cousin ended up actually giving that to me for a birthday present.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
a beautiful car. Wow. So after that happened, did you get the hell out of that house, or did you? What would you? I mean, from there, what was that the turning point when you said, "Look, I gotta flip the script or get up out of here"?
I had a bodyguard, Piper. Piper was always with me. The night that I actually ended up getting shot, where they were trying to kidnap me, Piper wanted to go so bad. But see, I'm getting ready to go to the LL thing with my girls and kick it. But then I'm going to go see my little whoop, when I leave there. So I don't want Piper to come. Because Piper is nosy, because my little whoop is private. So I'm like, Piper, I'm good. I'm just like, you ain't got to go. He's like, you sure? I feel like I should come out with you tonight. And I'm like, nah. And I didn't let him come. And, he still wear me out to this day
Wow.
about it. Yeah.
Wow.
Shout out to Piper. Definitely Piper.
So after that night, what pretty much transpired from there as far as what Oakland? Was that like you kind of like said, hey, I'm out, or did you decide to stay longer? You went to LA after that, or what kind of like what was your journey from there?
It was PTSD for me. Always paranoid.
Because them guys are still out there.
Yeah. And, like how I'm looking at you, the crazy thing about it is that these guys had ski masks on their head. And this is how, for me, PTSD works. When they got me out the car, next door to my house, because I lived in a house, next door was an apartment complex. It was bright lights like this. These stupid motherfuckers forgot to pull their masks down. But get this, I still don't even remember who the fuck they were because I was running for my life. Like, I'm looking at your face now. It's everything is at a blank because I was trying to get the fuck on. It's like, yeah, I want to remember you, but no, I don't want to remember you. I need to, it was just real. It was different. So I always had to have Piper with me, and if we went other places and stuff like that, like when I went to New Orleans and I ended up getting shot there, where they ended up carjacking me.
So what New Orleans, so what happened with that?
I know.
Damn. You running on all kind of shit.
I know, it's terrible. So I told you to do your homework.
Well, I like to get stuff fresh because, like I said, unscripted.
Yeah, you want it fresh, but you already know what you want to dive into when you ask the questions and everything, because you might go deeper. Because after we leave here and you start doing your research, then it's going to be more shit that you're going to want to know.
Well, that keeps the people on edge, though. That
okay, well, I'm going to leave you right there on edge. Watch. Yeah.
Okay. With the New Orleans, so New Orleans or some other stuff. So after the incident that happened at your home, Piper at that point, like wherever you went, you made sure you had him with you.
Piper was with me still today. Like, depending on, the situation or whatever it is. Right now, it's not necessary. Before it was very necessary. Now I'm good. Certain stuff that I do, if it's large or whatever, and I'm not really, because I don't feel comfortable around a whole lot of people, then Piper will come with me.
I got you. All right, so let's go from Oakland to Los Angeles, which led up to you eventually catching your case. Can you get into some details about that?
Well, basically, what was happening when I ended up moving from Oakland to LA, and I had already been doing fraud and things of that nature, the airline tickets, just little shit here and there and everything. Once I moved to LA, things just kind of like escalated, because when you get to LA, it's a melting pot. So you just kind of like intertwine with people that you actually connect with. And it wasn't a lot of people that I connected with, but, one of my people, my GGs, one of my gay gangsters, They said, I got this paperwork. What can we do with this? And I was like, well, I don't know. Well, let me see. I looked at it, studied it, and it was like, whoa. It was easy. But what I liked about it, and this is what's crazy when they say that, you took all that money from those people. And I'm like, what? I said they were inconvenienced for a moment. Just for a moment. Because that's just like if you turn around, you lose your credit cards, right? And somebody done ran up a whole bunch of charges on your credit card, it's covered by FDIC. You know, there's a clearinghouse that, you know, where when you Zelle, Cash App, and all that, once they sit up there and they clear that shit, okay, that's on them. The ball is in their court. They fucked up by letting $300,000 go through. Them people got to get their money back. And that's what I liked about it, is because the people were they were insured. They're insured, so they get reimbursed. So I didn't like to have them, you know, inconvenience. But how many times are you checking your IRA or your 401k or your 403b or your trust account? Did you check it today?
No, I ain't checked it today.
Okay, well, it might be a bitch that then got up in there. No. Yeah, you check them quarterly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like when you go to Rouse and it's coming off your regular bank account. Check your shit. That's how I got in.
So you were able to get in and do it at a whole nother level.
Yeah, it's crazy. Everything is self-taught. I didn't even have nobody helping me. It was
How'd they eventually get onto you?
a snitch. It's always a snitch.
Somebody within the crew or somebody outside that
No,
infiltrated?
not my crew. Not never.
Okay.
You know, the GGs, we tight. We don't, like, no. I mean, they was trying to have, like my one son, Yosef, they wanted him to come and do an interview for Trap Queens. He so stuck on, like, our loyalty and where we are, he didn't want to say shit because he don't want to tell on me. He don't want to incriminate himself. And that's how I taught them. Don't say shit.
That's right. Keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, but my case is done. I can talk about whatever I want to.
Yeah. So when they came at you, how did that evolve? I mean, was it, you know, out of the blue they show up at the house with warrants, or how'd that all come about? Like, how'd that transpire?
Oh yeah, the feds is called. You know, they like to come get you early in the morning. They come very, very early. But see, what they were mad about is when they came to get me, I was already gone.